Hi, this is Catherine Morgan from Point A to Point B Transitions. I'm also the editor of Carol Roth's blog, Business Unplugged, which is why we are talking to Miss Carol Roth today.
Hi.
Hi, Carol. So I want to riff on the idea that you don't have to have everybody as your target market. In fact, it's better not to try and target everybody. It's exhausting, it's expensive. Your message, your product, whatever is dilute, boring, forgettable. Seth Godin talks about the concept of a minimum viable audience, and I'd love to have your take on this.
Yeah, so this is one where math is your friend, and having an idea about how much you want to sell coming out of the gate or within a reasonable period of time. And there are multiple ways to get there depending on the kind of business. You can build a 6 or 7 figure business with small audiences in a couple of different ways. You could have a couple of really big clients, which by the way probably takes a little bit longer to land, but each one, you get a couple of clients that are worth $30,000 or $35,000 a piece. Pretty soon, 3 clients, you've got a 6-figure business. But you can also do that with sort of a smaller spend. If you think about it, let's say you've got a group of 100 customers and you sell them $100 a month. That is over, let's say 10 months, that's $1,000 times 100 customers, $100,000. So with 100 customers, if you have a way to really kind of get them something on an ongoing basis and even take 2 months out of the year, you could also get to a 6-figure business that way. So you have to really kind of figure out what your product or service offering is. And are you doing something that's frequent? Are you doing something that's infrequent? Are you looking at a smaller spend or a bigger spend? And that will give you the sense of how many customers you need. But if you think about it, I mean, $100 a month or, $50 a month times 200 people, that's not a huge ask to get to,
Right.
To be able to go from 0 to 6 figures, and then obviously multiply that by 10 if you want to go to 7 figures. But that's a very reasonable way to look at things so that you don't get overwhelmed and go, oh my God, how am I going to go about doing this? So you have both of those paths. And again, if you're selling high-end consulting or you're selling, widgets or subscriptions, you can get it either way. But you start with the math and you break it down, and how frequently are you going to do those touch points? And then you may see, I got to get to the point where I'm selling something every month instead of, I just do it 4 times a year. And then pretty soon at 100 customers, you've got yourself a 6-figure business.
Right. But it can be exhausting and expensive and incredibly inefficient to try and quote unquote boil the ocean to get. So how we want, even if we're only trying to get 100 customers,
yes,
we want to focus on like 1, max 2 as we're going to market to try and find these customers. We're looking at some vertical or some segment or have an ideal customer in mind.
Yeah, you absolutely should do that, because especially if you have a product that appeals to a wide swath of the population, you really need to start somewhere. And hopefully before you started your business, you've done some homework and talked to the kinds of businesses that might be interested. And if you're finding that it's a financial services provider that's, got that interest and you're having success there, I like to double down on the places where you've already been successful instead of trying to pepper in a little bit of everything. And I think it's easier to go deep than it is to go wide, because once one person in an industry or one type of customer wants to do it, the reality is that people like to follow, and it's much easier to bring on the next one and the next one, because nobody wants to miss out on offering those kinds of products or services or having those kinds of things within their purview. So I think that that's sort of the best way to do, is to do research and talk to, you may have an idea of 20 types of target customers,
Right.
and go with where you're getting the feedback and also where you have the relationships. I had my own issue with this with Future File, because that's a product that does sort of align with everybody. And so I went with, where do I have a relationship where I can get to somebody who is a decision maker and who's entrepreneurial. That was the criteria for me. It's on the B2B side. And then on the B2C side, where can I leverage my media contacts? So you're bringing something to the party, hopefully as an entrepreneur, or maybe you shouldn't be there. So you've got to have some sort of leverage and reason why you're the right person to start the business. And so wherever your contacts are the strongest, sometimes that's just the low-hanging fruit.
Right.
And always go for the low-hanging fruit first, and then you can move up the tree.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Carol.